Hi everyone. I hope it's watching. Okay, so welcome back to Roda 360. After the last time I talked about PhDs and how to apply for PhDs in Auckland, I got lots of responses. Some I couldn't respond to. I couldn't answer everybody's question. And I noticed that was the main reason why I even left Facebook for a while because lots of people kept asking questions and, I mean, I am also a busy person, so I couldn't answer everyone. And for the people who are really interested in talking to me, I felt, okay, you appreciate me too, buy my time. So I put a buy me a coffee link on Facebook for if you wanted to, I think it was $50 per hour that I put there. If people wanted to talk to me or ask me questions, or just share. I feel if you were serious, and you could at least commit to buying me a coffee so that we could chat. But that by the side, I decided to make this series of videos for people who may be interested and may not be able to actually buy me a coffee. So I have put down all the questions that have been asked, the people have been asking on the comment sections and DMs and everywhere. And I hope I'm able to answer some of these today. If I'm not, like I said, on my YouTube post, I'll keep posting these videos, from Tuesday of this week till Friday. So it could be 4, 6, 7 videos. I don't know, but let's just see how it is. So for this episode, I want to, talk about funding. If you're interested, you have your master's, right? Let's not beat around the bush. If you did not school in New Zealand and you want to come into New Zealand for your PhD, then you should have your master's. If you want to come for a PhD is a research program. So it's expected that you have some research component in the master's that you did. And for that, it is expected that you can prove that, okay, you have some documents or publication at least to show that you did research. It does something to show research experience. Just want to know where you are, especially when you're looking for funding. So welcome to Roda 360. If you've ever typed, how much does a scholarship cost in New Zealand, and you've Googled it, you've used LLM to check it, this episode is for you, because the truth is, nobody will actually um, have the time, except YouTubers, right, to actually break down how much is enough money to spend in New Zealand as a PhD student. People can only guess, right? So, and then I know that there are two things. There's a tuition payment, and then there's a living expenses. And then there are other unexpected costs, especially when you're not on scholarship or you don't have funding from wherever you're coming from. So today, I will try to give actual numbers, not promising, but whatever I give, just to like an approximation. It could be less, it could be more. And another thing I want people following me or watching this video to know is that I'm not an immigration consultant. I am not an admission officer. So I don't know, I don't work in the admission office. I don't work with New Zealand immigration. So whatever I'm telling you is from experience or my own research from internet, things that I expect that you've been doing. Immigration website is one of the most, it's one of the very, good websites you go, and it's very intuitive. So it's easy to actually navigate, to actually easy to find the kind of information that you're looking for. It's not like any other website where you need to ask questions or you need to spend time before you find answers to your questions. The same thing with the University of Auckland admission website or the faculties or the schools. So when you're looking for, say you're a pharmacist or you have a pharmacy background, you already have your master's degree, and you're looking to come to New Zealand for a PhD, all you need to go is to go to your school of choice. I'll go through all that, but I'm just ranting for these 5 minutes. So you go to your school of choice in New Zealand. There are 7 active universities in New Zealand you can do your PhD in. So say you go to University of Auckland, you check the faculties. Under the faculties, you check the schools. And under the schools, you see where they say research opportunities. Then you also check the staff of the school. Most of the staff, you see that, okay, open to research, open to doctoral, open to take doctoral students, things like that. And then you begin to make your research from there. What do you want to study? What school? What do you want to get at the end of your PhD? Then you begin to make contact with these prospective supervisors and you begin your admission process from there. Anyways, so let me go back to why I'm actually making this video. As you're watching this, whatever questions you have, please leave it in the comment section. Leave it in the comment section. It could be another video. I might not answer you directly in the comment section, or if I have the time, I'll do. And practically what we're talking about is how to get funding or how to, like, money issues as a PhD student in New Zealand. It's New Zealand specific. And it's a mini series, like I've said, and we're going deep on this episode because it touches on everything, especially whether you're coming alone or not, right? Money is very important because before you ask if your PhD is worth it, you need to ask if you actually have the money to fund it, and if you can actually afford it. So let's start with a scholarship, and the scholarship that most domestic and even international students will come across first if you're searching for scholarships in New Zealand, and that is the University Doctoral Scholarship. University of Auckland Doctoral Scholarship, Victoria University of Wellington Doctoral Scholarship. I guess I don't know if they have a name. Otago has their own. AUT, Auckland University of Technology Doctoral Scholarship. So it's the university doctoral scholarships might be called different names in different universities, but then they are available. Before you say, okay, Rhoda said there's money in New Zealand. Look, these scholarships are limited. So say in a particular stream, right? They will give, is it a stream or in a particular year? I don't know now. They will give maybe 50 people in the whole university, 50 people. And imagine you competing with 1,500 people that year to get one spot. So it's not something that you just feel, okay, because you came across this video and you submitted, you're going to get. No, I know lots of people that applied, got supervision, but did not get the doctoral scholarship. So let me continue. Then at the University of Auckland, that's where I'm based, the doctoral scholarship for 2026 provides a tax-free stipend of about $35,000 per year. I think they've stretched it to about 42 months of doctoral study because they understand that it's not everybody that can finish PhD within 3 years. So they extended it for 42 months instead of the original or initial 36 months that it was. Then on top of that stipend, it covers your compulsory fee. It covers the cost of studying under the domestic fee policy. And then it covers the compulsory health insurance for you alone. If you're coming with family, you would have to get health insurance for your family, and which is an important immigration requirement. So I want you to sit with that for a moment. That's per year. 35,000 per year divide by 12. That's about 3,000 or 2,900 per month. In Auckland, if it's University of Auckland, then meaning you're going to stay in Auckland, bro, that's not. Anyway, we'll come back to that. We'll come back to what that actually buys you in Auckland. Now, the another important detail is that when you apply to the University of Auckland, and I'm always saying the University of Auckland because this university is so sweet, and they're the biggest in New Zealand. So if you're coming to New Zealand, especially as a health personnel, you have some little, health background, you're a doctor, you are a pharmacist, you're a nurse, come look towards the University of Auckland first. I'm not saying there are no other universities, but look towards the University of Auckland first. Yeah, so when you apply for the admission, you are automatically considered for the doctoral scholarship of the University of Auckland. So there's no separate application for that. And that's why when I advise people, when you're lodging in your application for the first time, go in with everything you have. Don't say, okay, I'll wait first, and later on, I'll now, when they request, I'll now submit the documents. No, submit all the documents that you can submit at the initial point when you're lodging your application. That is, you would have secured a supervisor. Both you and your supervisor would have drafted or edited and reviewed your research proposal. Sorry, you would have reviewed your research proposal because you need it submit. The admission team would need to know that you have worked with a potential supervisor on that proposal. So you would have need to do all that before you lodge in your application. Before you click submit, any document that will support your application, submit it. You have 100 publications. Submit your publications. You have research experience from, say, some university or some, what do they call them? Research institutes in your home country, or probably along the way in your professional life, you've done some research things. Submit evidence. Submit evidence. Don't leave anything. There's no point leaving it until they ask. If you're not lucky, they might not ask. Because while you're thinking, okay, they don't need publication, there are people from the other side of the world that are submitting high impact publications, high impact meta-analysis from high impact journals. So you're not competing with people from, say, your school in Nigeria alone or your school in Kenya. No, you're competing from people all around the world. People that have more experience, people that have more professional standing than you. So don't wait. Don't wait until they ask. So the University of Auckland selection rounds runs four times a year. Deadlines are in 1st of November, 1st of February, 1st of May, and 1st of August. 1st of November, 1st of February, 1st of May, and 1st of August. Please, if you have not completed your masters before any of these deadlines, don't stop it. There's no point. You are expected to have collected your master's degree certificate because you'll be asked. You have expected to have been able to access the thesis you submitted to be able to graduate from your master's. You're expected to have that on hand because it's all part of your application. If you submit, sometimes you finish masters and then you're able to access your transcript, but not the certificate. Sometimes the transcript alone is not enough because there are times that they will require the certificate, the master certificate, on its own. Then, if you're not in Auckland, right, every university runs its own version of these selection deadlines. I think Victoria University has something similar. I think theirs is three times a year. You need to check on the internet for that. AUT, for example, the doctoral scholarship for 2026 awards come with an annual stipend of about 34,000 New Zealand dollars. This includes tuition fees and compulsory student services for up to 3 years of full time. You see that AUT's own is not as long as University of Auckland's own. So the numbers across New Zealand universities sit in a similar range. So don't apply for University of Auckland because the scholarship is 35,000. This AUT is 34,000 something. So it sits as a similar range. Nobody's going to give you something higher because of your choice of university. Yeah. So don't do, if you're looking for money, just look for money, right? So it's not a competition. Then one thing that surprised me is that this scholarship are not designed to disappear. Right, the moment your funding period ends. If your funding period, say if your University of Auckland scholarship is due to end, in many cases, it will automatically extend for additional 6 months. Don't take my word for it. You need to check. You need to be careful. If you get a scholarship, you need to check. Always ask questions and be careful. Although that has been a safety net for many PhD students, at least the people that got funding. Yeah. So the next one is targeted scholarships, which include scholarships for Maori and Pacific students and some health specific funding. So while this video is made by an African, I'm sure many people watching this video will be from maybe West Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, and East Africa, Kenya. Yeah, hope so, hopefully. But again, it's going to be hosted on YouTube, so it's an everybody kind of YouTube. So I want to quickly highlight something that I think doesn't get talked enough in this PhD scholarship stuff. There are scholarship pathways that are designed to grow Maori and Pacific research capability in New Zealand. And if you qualify, they are worth knowing about it. Okay. At the University of Auckland, Maori and Pacific applicants with a New Zealand qualifying program of GPA 7.0 or above who are offered a PhD admission will automatically be considered for the University of Auckland doctoral scholarship. Although their GPA may be lower than than international students, but because of the treaty, because of the obligation of the university to Maori and Pacific students, they are considered, especially if they're able to hit that GPA of 7.0. So if you're Maori, if you're Pacific, if you're an islander watching this video, you have a leverage to secure a PhD scholarship at the University of Auckland. So beyond the university level, the HRC, which is the Health Research Council, New Zealand, they run scholarships also specifically for health research, of course. Yeah, Health Research Council, health. Because given that many of us have clinical or health adjacent fields, this particular one, funding from Health Research Council is directly relevant. They don't just fund PhD students, they fund postdocs, they fund extra research activities. So if you qualify, whether as a PhD student, whether as a postdoc, whether as a lecturer, or a researcher, independent researcher, if there's a funding call and you qualify, you most likely would get money from there. So these are not just financial ways of supporting people. They're also mentoring people to do something reasonable, something meaningful, to their communities. So if it applies to you, please look into it properly, and because it's a substantial support that only few people know exists. So let's go to international students. If you're watching this from outside of New Zealand today and you're wondering whether PhD in New Zealand is financially realistic, it is. It is. And I'm speaking to you directly today. The good news is New Zealand has actively over the years built pathways for international doctoral students. They love you guys. They love international doctoral students. And I think since 2005, the government has offered international PhD students domestic fee rates rather than international fee rates. So, say if domestic tuition fee per year of a PhD program is 9,000 as an $9,000 per year. As an international student, you are going to pay $9,000 per year. That is for people who do not secure scholarship. So it's not like other countries where, say, domestic fee will be 9,000 and international PhD students will be paying 35,000. No, it's different. That's the leverage New Zealand has over other countries. And that's why we keep shouting, come to New Zealand for your PhD. Come to New Zealand for your PhD. Yeah, that's one thing they've done. And we are really appreciative of that. For some of us are really thankful to the government of New Zealand for that. Without that policy, many people would not have the opportunity to study in New Zealand. Yeah. Then there's also the dedicated government scheme. That is the New Zealand International Doctoral Research Scholarship. It covers all course fees alongside living allowance, travel budget, health insurance. It's very competitive. It's very, very competitive, and applications typically close around July. And it's not a same week decision. It's something that you need to plan ahead. You need to plan ahead. These are people in New Zealand who are already studying but want to go and probably do some research in another country. Yeah, if you understand. Yeah. Then one more practical detail about that people overlook is that student visas allow doctoral candidates to work both term time and holidays. However, if you're on scholarship, you're only allowed to work, I think, 20 hours. I don't know if it has been increased to 25, but when I came in, as a scholarship student, you're only allowed to work 20 hours. However, if you are on full funding, self-funding, if you're on self-funding, you're allowed to work fully on time and during holidays, which comes back to probably the next episode in this series, where I'll be talking about part-time and side hustles that PhD students can do in New Zealand. Like I said, I'm not an immigration officer. I keep saying this, please. I'm not an immigration officer. I don't work with the admission office. I'm not an admission officer. I don't even know where their office is. I don't know. You get information I'm giving you is from research, my own personal research agency. Oh, my iPad. I read, I tell you. Yeah, that's it. And on the visa cost itself, the budget for paying, for fee paying visa application, whether you're on scholarship or not, whether you get the scholarship or not, if you're applying for visa, you pay the visa application fee for fee paying students. So it's not different. If it's $400 that a fee paying student will pay, it's $400 you as a scholarship student will pay. You need to check it well. So another gap that nobody talks about and that I want you to remember from this episode is that a scholarship stipend that sits around $30,000, right, or $35,000. It sounds big on paper, or like I said, 30 to 35,000 New Zealand dollars. It sounds big, right? But it is, it is, and it's actually generous compared to other countries, especially if you're coming from a country where PhD students are not even paid at all. It's very, very generous. And I'm not diminishing that. It's helping some of us a lot. Mhm. But the thing is, while the university is really helping to support us and make sure that we focus solely on our research, the cost of living in a city like Auckland is very expensive. Very, very expensive. Rent, groceries, transport. I'm glad they said they want to reduce that one now. All of heat is part of the bills, right? Is it part of dimension bills, water, electricity? What else? Food to eat. If you're an African like me, a Nigerian like me that like local food, your money will just finish. Things are expensive. Now, and all those things will not pause because you are doing a PhD. They will not pause because you are a student. You will not, I don't think there's a card that you take to somewhere and say, okay, I'm a student, so give me food for free. I think according to the visa, whatever, you're not supposed to depend on the government for anything or something like that. So you need to be careful. You need to read your visa document clearly before you do anything. I don't think there's any leverage for students. You and I, yeah. So you take care of yourself, you feed yourself, right? So, and universities themselves recommend budgeting for you now. They recommend budgeting like between 15 to 20,000 a year for general living costs. Um, then with institutions in more expensive cities like Auckland recommending close to 18,000. So if, um, say you're talking to somebody or say your university program officer, normally they'll recommend you, okay, if you're going to stay in Auckland or if your program is University of Auckland or AUT, they'll tell you something like, you need to make sure you have up to 18,000. Take care of yourself for the next 1 year. Uh-huh. It's not them scaring you. That's the reality of things. And that's before rent in most cases. And depending on how you're able to how you take financial management. Most of us don't know how to manage money. You want to buy designer clothes, designer shoes, designer everything. It's you that know. Probably you're coming in with millions, good money. If you are, you're welcome. Please look for me and take me out. So when you do the maths, a stipend that covers fees and gives you roughly 30,000 per year or about less than 3,000 per month. Once you've paid for housing in Auckland, that number shrinks. Housing alone, if you're not careful, housing alone will take up 80% of your expenses in Auckland. Housing. Then it's livable. You pay for housing, you pay for water, you pay for electricity. I think one city that will not pay for water is Wellington. Hail Wellington for that. People do it. Right now I'm doing it. I'm paying for all that. But Auckland is livable and very comfortable. It's a beautiful city. Things are working. Um, transport. The transport system is superb. Actually, if you live in a certain part of Auckland, um, you know how New Zealand do their things that if you love nature, you can actually find nature in the middle of the city. That kind of thing. It's a very nice place. It just otherwise it's just dishonest to pretend that because it's expensive, it's not a good place to live. It's actually very good place to live. This is exactly why the next two episodes, the part-time job stuff, what you do to earn more money, and um, other episodes will come up, because the honest answer to can I afford a PhD in New Zealand? It's not just about the scholarship number. Even after you get the scholarship, you need some form of supplementation. You need some form of money, some form of support. If you have family back home that will support you, awesome. Or if you have family elsewhere that will support you while you're studying, awesome. If you're coming with family and your spouse will be working to support, you know, both of you or your family, even great. Get, don't come with any liability. If you're coming with another adult that is not ready to work to support both of you, there's no point, because it will disturb your mental health while you study. Anyway, that one is for another day. Okay, before I end this episode, if I was to start again, which many of you are doing now, right? If I was to start again, how do I approach this? Many of you are at the point of deciding, should I apply for a PhD in New Zealand? Many of you have gotten the admission, and then you're wondering, okay, how does this go? How funding, money? It's usually money issues, because where there's money, what's accommodation, what's flight, you know, money, money answered all things, right? Okay, so first, let me give you a framework. First, apply for university scholarship as your foundation. It's not admission. Don't approach the admission for just the admission letter. Approach it with scholarship as your foundation. That is, like I said in the beginning of this video, put your all into your application. Every document you know would help your application. Put it. I think I've done a video on this thing before, and it really it worries me that people apply for PhD admissions as though they're applying for some undergraduate admission at the back of their house. If you have worked in an area that is close to the area of research that you're interested in, put a proof. Let people know that you've done something like that. Let people know that you understand what you're going into. If I was a PI and I want to take a PhD student, I won't just take anybody. I'll take someone that at least will know that I know that me and them will not have issues in the middle of the program because they don't know what to do or they don't know what they are doing. You at least I'll pick somebody that can prove that, one, they have some research experience. If they don't have research experience, they know what they are applying for and what they are looking to do. Prove evidence in your research applications. Again, most of these schools, you're not going to have an opportunity to submit a separate scholarship application. It is now your admission application. Especially University of Auckland. It's your university, it's your admission application that also covers that is also used for your scholarship selection. So, yeah. It's not as if they will give you admission with or without scholarship, but they'll select you for funding with those documents that you submitted for admission. Secondly, actively check whether you qualify for targeted scheme. There's no point applying for funding when you know you are not qualified. So check for the ones that you are qualified. If you're an international student, check for the ones that is international student doctoral scholarship. If you're a Maori or you have a Maori Pacific or Islander background or ethnicity, check for the ones that concern. If you're in health research, imagine Maori or Pacific plus health. Those ones will get it fast. Then I don't know about any African supported scholarship, doctoral scholarship in Auckland or New Zealand right now. But if you know, if you're still searching, I guess you continue to do the research. If you know, apply. If you know some international funding organization that can support your PhD in New Zealand, apply. There are lots. I think I'm going down that video on that one. About international funding organizations that support doctoral studies. Probably another time, sometime later this year. But if you see anyone, apply. That's it. Don't assume that targeted scholarships are not relevant to you. There are some that might not be doctoral, the University of Auckland doctoral scholarships. There are some that might be a name, say Rhoda Ilewabo doctoral, Rhoda Ilewabo research funding scheme. Look for it, read it. If you know you qualified for that scheme, apply for it. I've had a friend, I've forgotten the name of this scholarship she got. She came in as self-funded, and a year later, she got scholarship to support her research. It's not the University of Auckland doctoral school. It was another scheme within the university. And all these are on the university website. So check, take your time. Like I said in my other video about applying for PhD funding, don't take it as a one-time thing. When I was applying for funding, when I was really looking for, I was getting admissions, but I was not getting funding. I took my funding application, my PhD applications, or even right from the master's application, as a part-time job. So take it as a part-time job. If it's funding you want, look for every channel. Look for email addresses of program officers or funding program officers. Email them. One thing I like about New Zealand, they will always respond. They might not respond that week, but the following week, or when you send a reminder, they will always respond. If it's there, it's there. If you're qualified, you're qualified. If you're not qualified, they will let you know. So don't leave it and say, oh, because I'm international and this is a targeted scheme, then you might not be qualified. Just ask. Then if you're in a health-related field, right, especially if you're doing something for which the outcome is good for the indigenous people of New Zealand, then also try the Health Research Council. They have lots of funding schemes there. Something might just happen for you. Then, if you're an international student, start the funding conversation 6 to 12 months before your intended start date. This is June. I said some deadline will be 1st of August, right? Some people will come to my DM now and tell me how they want to apply for funding for August deadline so that they can resume with the October cohort. That might not work. That might not work at all. So start early. Begin to look for supervisors early. Begin to talk to program officers early. Begin to look at funding schemes and structures early. Give yourself 6 to 12 months. This is not something that you patch together within 1 week and it will work. It will work for others. I mean, my Thailand scholarship worked within 5 days. However, I already have documents prepared because I was applying to other countries. I applying to other scholarships. Good. So, build your realistic monthly budget before you arrive, not after. Talk to current students. How much do people spend per year? If you are coming in as a family, go to LinkedIn, look for people, say you are coming in from Nigeria now, look for Nigerians in New Zealand, especially those people that are doing doctoral studies that have family, and ask them what is the average that you spend per month in New Zealand, so that you know, even if you're coming in as a loner, you're coming in alone, look for someone, right, to ask how much you spend per month, so that you know how much you're going to budget per week and per month. Then ask around rent in different suburbs and see the type of the specific accommodation that will fit your budget. I always recommend that if your research is going to be lab based, if your research is going to be lab based, you know, at least from your proposal, you know, from discussion with your potential supervisor, you know, stay within or around the campus. Yeah, stay around your campus. If your campus is in Auckland City and you know you'll be going to the lab, stay around Auckland City. Uh-huh. It's when you know that maybe your research is dry lab research, you don't have to be going to the lab maybe every day, or you don't even have to go to school every day. That's when you can decide to stay somewhere else. Next one is stipend is not a foundation, right? So you have to understand the whole picture. If I have a choice, I will tell people that if you can sponsor yourself, do self-funding. Self-funding gives you more leverage, gives you more freedom to do some kind of things, to legally, to work, to gain experience, you know, got their residency as they were finishing their PhD. Why? Because they came as self-funding and they started working first year of their PhD. So by the time they were rounding up their PhD, they already had that leverage. They already spent the amount of time needed to cross over to residency. For people with scholarship, you need to wait. You finish, you know, time. While you think you're comfortable, some people are making it out there. So you need to know what you want. And if you don't get a scholarship, when you apply for admission, if you don't get a scholarship, it's not failure. It's just that these things are actually very competitive and limited. So the simple reality is the sooner you plan, the better. So that you'll not be surprised by um the rude shock you meet, especially with how expensive things are in New Zealand. So funding, is there anything I've not covered? If there's anything about funding, scholarship, money issue as a PhD student or as a new or an intending PhD student in New Zealand, I've not covered, please put it in the comment section. Probably I'll make another video about it, or I'll just answer you straight away there. So, funding a PhD in New Zealand, there are real numbers, there are pathways, and there are real gaps. In as much as the government, the schools are trying. If you're already funded or you are considering applying for it, it's okay. Just make sure that whatever you choose to do, prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. If you're on scholarship and you're not coming alone, or you're coming with family, or even if you're coming alone, you need some form of support. You may need some form of support. If you're on self-funding, you know that, okay, this one, you're carrying it on your head. You will need supplementation. So, with or without scholarship, you will need supplementation. You will need support, because the cost of living in Auckland and even generally in New Zealand is expensive. So I think that's all. If this was useful, share it with someone. Please, guys, subscribe to my channel. Subscribe. I know it's not easy. Just click on your subscription button right now as you're watching this. Put on your notifications. I'll upload another one next tomorrow about the part-time jobs and hustles you can do as a PhD student in New Zealand. Um, yeah. So while funding is a um, foundation is on the whole house, there are other things that we'll talk about in this PhD mini series. My name is Rhoda. This is Rhoda 360, 360 degrees of inspiration, insight, and impact. It's the full 360. Take care of yourself and each other. See you tomorrow. Bye.